Hi, everybody. My name is Jimmy Carroll. I'm the Vice President of Operations at Tech B2B Marketing and here at Automate, and I have the pleasure of being joined by Reinhold Niesing, who is the head of the Automotive and Battery Group at Siemens. Reinhold, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day, and I really appreciate it. I suppose everyone knows Siemens, but if you could tell us a little bit about what you do specifically in your group, that would be nice.
Yeah. No, this is what we do in our group. Actually, we are focused on the automotive industry. This is my core topic. This is what I do when I wake up, and this is what I still do when I go to bed. So this is our key focus. So we are actually then the primary interface for the automotive industry and taking care about the automotive industry, including battery at Siemens.
Great, including the EV battery. That's a hot spot. So what do you think of Automate so far? For those who don't know, we're just below about 20,000 of our best friends who are upstairs checking out the latest innovations at Automate right now. We're on day 3 of Automate. How's the show been so far, Reinhold?
It's an amazing show. And first of all, I want to congratulate the organization of this Automate. It's really amazing what's putting together such an event. We are excited to be actually a key contributor to this event, a part of this event.
Yeah.
We are blown away about the attendees. We are very much excited about our keynote speech, the attendees, what we saw there. And last but not least, all these system engineers, industry engineers, leaders actually coming to our booth, visiting our booth, and having really great discussions about how the technology will work, how the future will look like, and deep diving into our portfolio.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah, we're lucky enough with the Manufacturing Matters podcast to be A3 media partners, so we're always astounded by what they do and how much better they get every single year. I think this year, attendees, I've heard whispers of over 40,000 possibly, which I think last year we were a little bit over 30,000. The numbers, I think both number of exhibiting companies as well as the attendees are probably up around 25% year over year.
Nearly 800 exhibitors is what I heard too.
Wow, outstanding.
And I was talking to Reinhold on the way down here. It almost felt like last year was the welcome back post-COVID Automate, and this year it's something even new. It's evolved. That's really exciting. What though, I want to ask, general industry impressions aside and your thoughts about the show, but what's Siemens most excited about right now?
So we are excited actually saying, how the automotive, or not only the automotive, but the industry in the United States develops. How can we help the industry here in the United States to further evolve, to become a more sustainable, better world? Help them actually to make good business, not only for the business by itself, but same for helping the world.
Do we have any new product introductions this year?
So we had a lot of new introductions actually, and maybe if you had the chance actually to listen to Del Costi's keynote speech, it was all about you should expect more from your automation. And I guess this is really what we try to showcase and what we do showcase in our booth. There are technologies, for example, artificial intelligence, generative AI, cockpit assistant for system engineers, how to develop code. A very innovative concept. But same, for example, we have systems how we can do preventive maintenance, new ways how to program actually an automation system, what is very exciting, so that we can tap in additional resources, that we get the world closer to an IT. So it's all about same, for example, tapping in additional people, making them available. But same, for example, what we were very excited about is our automation workstation, what we developed actually together with Ford.
What blows my mind is we keep talking about adding functionality, but we're not requiring the engineers and the programmers and everything to learn completely new platforms. It's revolutionary results with evolutionary steps. So the ease of use component, which I know is something that's talked about so often and thrown around as a buzzword, but it's truly has value, especially it seems at this moment in the industry's evolution, right? I mean, as we bring in AI technologies but making these technologies seamless, because you don't have to be a mathematician to be able to develop the statistical models to be able to leverage this incredibly powerful technology. Does the new workstation, what is its connection to AI? Is there a component there?
Yes, actually, the automation workstation it's an interesting, unique product because actually it's a combination of multiple disciplines. So we integrate actually all the traditional automation systems, what you need actually a PLC and HMI.
Right.
But the same, a key component is actually our edge management system, what we put on top of this. And the edge management system allows us actually to manage the device by itself, to make it easier to manage updates, system updates, security updates,
Right.
because we all know living in the world of cybersecurity, have
Absolutely.
to consider this. But same, for example, the edge system is the platform how we can, for example, run additional applications. Applications sometimes developed by Siemens, sometimes by our customers, or any other third party.
So does this help us provide better end-to-end data communication across the entire enterprise? I mean, when we talk about edge deployments, right? I mean, we're talking about bringing communication, I don't know whether it's 5G or still leveraging the Ethernet IP core network of the plant or both. Is that what are some of the differentiators and the real value propositions that comes with this workstation?
At the end of the day, you are dead on, because it's all about the IT-OT integration.
Gotcha.
This is the one key topic where we all working, because we are working on the digital transformation of the factory. And the one key component is the availability of information and data.
Right.
And the IT-OT integration is implemented really via this edge system. When edge systems were already existing before, what makes this unique, that we baked it all in one single product.
Gotcha.
So there's no integration work required from the different users of the system. So we provide this as a one single station, so that we make all this technology available, ready to be used out of the box.
From an industry standpoint, I wanted to ask about some different verticals. And, for so long, automotive has been the driver of automation, pun definitely intended. But there are others like food and beverage and warehousing and things like that are kind of expanding and evolving. But now within the space of automotive, there are a lot of different new applications. And in what ways are, like EV, for example, like EV battery production and EV battery inspection, in what ways are these new demands driving automation advances?
It's an interesting aspect, because one key component of the EV strategy are the batteries. So we all need batteries to drive actually these electric vehicles forward. So, and that's an interesting new technology. It's sometimes new if automotive, for example, uses this. It's a different process they have to implement, because batteries is not only an assembly process, it's same, for example, process industries. You have to work in categories like coating, mixing, applications what, for example, automotive traditionally didn't do.
Right.
So we have to convert them now to make these technologies available and adjust actually to the different process what they have to implement right now. And this is now interesting, having actually these applications running in a process which is not traditionally used in the automotive industry, but making them now available. But that comes together, same for different line builders now who are becoming part of this network and this ecosystem.
I wanted to follow up one other question, if I could, on the workstation before we move too far away. So we were talking about the edge. I'm just wondering, does that bring intelligence to existing dumb systems? I mean, is it part of pushing the IoT capability out to systems that were not made to have those communication interfaces? Is that a component of that?
Yes, what makes it unique is actually how fast we can implement these new technologies.
Gotcha.
So the edge provides the ecosystem, the infrastructure behind it. So, for example, that we can use AI applications which we develop, but how do we get them on the shop floor? So this is the main concern actually then. So making this one, what is the runtime environment? So edge gives us the capabilities actually to use AI application, but run them in a protected environment, almost in a sandbox, on the manufacturing shop floor, test them, and after we tested them and we are convinced that they are doing the job the way how they are supposed to do it, distribute this to a large fleet.
Fantastic. Is that in a small test node, or are you actually running basically parallel programs where you're doing real production while also testing new routines?
Exactly. This is exactly the concept that we say, okay, we can use the ecosystem of this edge system to say, first we test this, for example, in a lab environment, or we test this at a single station. But then we want to go large scale.
Gotcha.
And quite honest with you, this was sometimes really the hurdle, actually. There was always good ideas how to improve a manufacturing system. But many times, actually, we were struggling how fast and easy is it to deploy these good ideas.
Yeah.
So
especially across global enterprises.
Exactly, large enterprises, how consistent we are. So it's now the capabilities to improve, actually, the edge, to make it more agile, to have systems more current. So we are not going to implement a fixed functionality and run the same functionality for a long period of time. We're starting actually to make the whole system more dynamic, allow it to be updated. enrich them with new functionality, just like artificial intelligence.
Gotcha.
Well, on the topic of artificial intelligence, it does seem like we end up talking about it quite a bit, and everybody does. And, you know, it was probably 7 or 8 years ago where AI just started to become really hyped. There was a lot of marketing behind it, and it was being pushed. Deep learning in particular was being pushed in the industrial automation space as something that's going to change everything. But it hasn't. But in some ways now, like it's sort of settled in and become a valuable tool for the tool set. So I do want to ask about AI. You know, I remember a couple of years back, I was at the AI and Smart Automation conference that A3 did. And there were a number of your colleagues there that gave presentations. One was a panel discussion, one was a larger talk. But one topic in particular that I found particularly interesting, and that I wanted to ask you about is this idea of AI and the hype versus opportunity. What's your view on AI? How does an industry leader like Siemens approach AI?
So, in a nutshell, AI is reality.
Yeah.
So it's now already existing. So it was same, for example, the discussion: how much do we need AI experts really everywhere, or can AI be so contained, self-sufficient, that we even don't need AI experts in many cases.
Right.
So you see great products like we have a visual inspection system, Inspector. This is actually a totally integrated AI solution. So it's so far developed that you even barely recognize that AI is already in the system. But it goes then many ways, it goes beyond this one. So this isn't a completely integrated AI system where we say, oh, okay, this is a commercially available product. You can use it, you can train it on the application, even if you're not an AI expert. And this is very important. So then we go in totally different directions where you say, okay, it becomes more sophisticated, generative AI, and so on.
I was just going to ask that. Have we evolved past the deep learning phase? Would you say that we're in a generative AI, which is not the same as general AI, but how do you define those terms? Can you give us some kind of benchmarks? What's the difference between a traditional deep learning machine vision system and is it just its ability to actually learn autonomously, meaning to run it in teach mode without having to really focus on the training, the data sets, doing all your model building offline and before you start doing inference, right? So how do you define it?
It's interesting because I would split this actually into big topics. This is where I would call it traditional AI, and it's kind of weird already calling AI traditional.
Right.
So
that was the past couple of years.
Exactly. So we have all these systems where anomaly detection, visual inspections.
Right.
We use it actually for quality inspection systems, and it's all about recognitions of defects, for example.
Variations
in this space.
Gotcha.
There is a lot of applications in this area. And this is not always provided by Siemens. So we provide an infrastructure how to develop actually these AI applications.
Okay.
And same to deploy them. This is the same part of the edge system, which is part of the automation workstation again. So that's how it becomes a total circle. The total different aspect is this generative AI. And this becomes now really interesting. So you see it already there. This is the industrial cockpit. So you really should have a look at this. It's fascinating now that you can talk, you can chat with an engineering system.
Right.
It's a totally different interface. So far, I guess, in many cases, you have to learn how an engineering system works. You had to read the specifications, and you had to implement this. There are very many times very repetitive tasks where you say, why do I really have to do this? And why do I have to do this 100 times? Why doesn't a system? So now you start actually to talk with an engineering system, with a chat. You say actually describe what you want. In parts, sometimes you even copy complete sections out of a specification and tell the system actually this is what I really want. And the system analyzes actually your requirements and starts to design the PLC project for you.
It is interesting to see generative AI being used in automation systems. Like it seems like a topic so many people are kind of dismissive of. Like, well, it's just for fun, and it is fun. But and now it's being used in really valuable ways. So it's
fun because many people use now ChatGPT and see the potential there.
Absolutely.
And sometimes you can use it. For example, you go a document and you want to know what is the summary of the document. So you submit the whole document and tell it actually to summarize it.
Yeah.
The same way we can use our industrial cockpit actually to say, okay, we use the specification, which maybe comes sometimes from a customer, and you have to implement this. And you tell it just like the same way how you interact with ChatGPT. You chat with the system, tell it what you want to do, and the system starts to implement it, analyze actually what you really try to achieve.
So this is engineering fun. This is
It's
fun for
engineering
engineers.
fun
because it's making their
ChatGPT
job
in the
easier.
industrial world. But-
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
but we had to do this. We did this together with a partner, with Microsoft, and they helped us actually to make, say, an industrial version out of this ChatGPT.
Gotcha.
There are significant differences sometimes because if you work with ChatGPT and you ask a question, if you ask the same question a week later, you get a different answer.
Sure.
So in this industrial generative AI, how we use it, actually we might have to make sure that we get the same answer if we ask the same question. So there are some
Right.
interactions there too, and how we actually
Well,
use it.
it's a more defined contextual environment, right?
Exactly.
I mean, the data sets, which allows you to do that, and have consistency of design, have more confidence in its ability to generate new programs and routines based on historical things. You know, as more you talk about the new workstation, I understand more about why you use workstation in the product name. I mean, back in the day, because I'm old, you know, we think of workstations, we think of super powerful PCs. They were doing efforts, but since you're putting this on the edge, but it also has the ability to create new models and new data sets, basically a whole new AI routines. I assume that requires some horsepower. You know, I mean, traditionally it's been data farm based to be able to generate the models, bring it to the edge in a much smaller processing unit. But the full functionality that you're putting together there helps me to understand why you chose that name.
Yes. So it was this, we were really looking for what is the right name for it, because we had to think about it. How do we call this now? Because actually it's really for us actually to help the customer to implement all these different disciplines.
Right.
And so we didn't want to go to the customer and tell the customer, okay, here's all these tools, and now it's your problem actually to integrate them.
Yeah, that doesn't really go over well anymore. There's too much complexity in the
Too
system.
much complexity in there. So
Too
we
much
took
barrier
actually
to
the
adoption.
task,
Yes,
exactly,
sir.
to do the job for them, and then they say, okay, use the edge management system and use these technologies and use them in the way that they actually, the customer benefits from it.
Absolutely.
So that he gets real value out of it. But that same, we use our own edge system to manage ourselves. So so we prove actually the value by simply saying, okay, we can manage our own device. We can keep this device up to date. We can implement the cybersecurity aspects with it. So that helps us actually not only to manage other applications. So we said, yeah, okay, if we are so convinced about it that it will help, then it should be capable to manage our own device. And that's what we do as well.
See, down south we call that eating our own cooking.
Exactly. Yes. So that's what we do, yeah. And then we followed this and then said, yeah, okay, so if we just say, okay, it should be able to do this, then we should be able to do it for our own product.
Beautiful.
Reinhold, I always like to ask people this question, but especially people like you from leading companies like Siemens. What major trends or predictions do you see in the next couple of years? I know maybe that's a difficult question, but it's a fun one to ask.
It's actually simple, digitalization. Yes.
Without question.
No, it's just digitalization, I guess. That's the key topic, the digital transformation, digital threads, how to implement the digitalization, what does it really mean for my business, really enabling actually the workforce to go this direction, implement the best practices inside the different business, and with the goal to make actually the business more profitable, make the business better, but same make the world better. This is
Lofty goals,
sustainable.
but I would agree with you. It's funny, we were just having a conversation the other day just about simple, cobalt welding type applications, and the general populace doesn't really understand that companies that adopt automation, whether they're in welding or other applications, invariably grow and then invariably increase their headcount and invariably are more profitable and invariably offer better salaries and benefits to all of their employees across the board. So, it may sound lofty, but it's actually true. And for the people who are working in the warehouses and in the production floors and everything, I think they're starting to really see those benefits. I think we're going to have a attitude adjustment very much over the next few years as the rest of the world, especially in manufacturing, really, because so much of the small, medium enterprises and even some of the plants in the large enterprises, really don't have that day-to-day interaction with automated solutions. But they have had difficult, dirty, and dull jobs, and a lot of these systems are helping to make their lives better each day. So it's a blessing for sure.
It is nice, too, that it seems like we've kind of passed that hurdle of people thinking that robots are going to take their jobs.
It's true. I mean, it doesn't matter what you look at. Every statistical report shows that that's just not the case whatsoever. So it's, I don't know, maybe It'll be interesting to see what happens when we start seeing the humanoid prototypes that are out there on the show floor.
That's correct. Mm-hmm.
When they're more active in day-to-day operations. That'll be an exciting development for sure.
Yeah, we'll see, right?
C3PO, bring it.
Yeah. Well, Reinhold, I really appreciate you taking the time.
Oh,
I know you have a
thanks
busy
for having
week.
me. Mm-hmm.
It's been our pleasure. I would encourage everyone to go check out the information on that new workstation and check out the Siemens website. You know where to find them. And if you have any questions, comments, you want to reach out to Reinhold or the team, you can visit us at manufacturing-matters.com. We'll be happy to pass along any information. And thanks for listening or watching.
Yeah. Thank you.